Hello, dear friends. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome. After an overwhelming number of messages asking for a tutorial on how I alter some of the SVG images, I wanted to do a quick video for you guys and just walk you through a few of the steps that I personally do when I'm creating with them. So, as you know, the interesting thing about an SVG image and what kind of makes me sad about it is that when we are transferring files for Cricut. You guys know that I love to create workshops and projects using Cricut. And whether you are one of my customers and you're taking advantage of my free workshop files, or if you are inside our creative collaboration membership, you'll notice that the majority of my projects are accompanied by a Cricut Design Space link. So when we use Cricut images and we make changes to those and we slice and we dice and we add offsets and all that good stuff, or we're flattening it for a print and cut and all those good things, when we share that link, all of those changes and alterations transfer with that link. So you guys just upload that link and away you go, right? All of my hard work, you are now the recipient of, and everything is going to print out or cut out the way that I have designed it for you. However, an SVG is a little bit different where we're not allowed to share Cricut files that include SVGs. That means that if you would like your SVG images to look just like mine, that you will see in the projects and the workshops, then you have to take the same steps that I have taken to make yours look that way, because of course they don't transfer over, which I wish that they did, but I don't make the rules, right? So we're just going to find a way to make that all work out. So what the purpose of this video is I would like to share with you guys how I make those alterations, and you guys are going to see quickly how easily they are. So if you are not interested in the print and cut, this video will not be of interest to you, because the things that we're going to be doing, adding the boldness, adding the offsets and things like that, those are only going to be features that are necessary when you use the print and cut software. Now, my dear sweet friend Naomi shared this with me over a year ago, and when I fully grasped what was possible with the print and cut software, I can 100% tell you my life was changed. I could not believe it. And so I will just share with you guys, one of the things that I don't find enjoyment out of at all is cutting things in Cricut. As much as I love it and as beautiful as our Close to My Heart cardstock is, I do not enjoy the process of the little detailed, intricate layers like what you see here on this top layer of the rose. I don't enjoy taking all of those and then adhering them all back together. It's just like not my jam. Okay. I don't like to take time to do that. It's a beautiful process for those of you that do, but it's just not something that I find enjoyment out of. So whereas if we were going to cut this camera image here, which by the way, for those of you that are not familiar with Close to My Heart, this is from the Sweet Memories digital art collection. I am filming this video January of 2024 when this collection is available on our shopping websites. And if you are watching this video many moons down the road, there's a very good chance you can still get this digital art collection. We do keep them. We have some of them on our websites that are many years old. So I hope that we're able to keep these around. So hopefully whenever you watch this video, even if it's in the future, you would still be able to grab this collection if you would like. So the great thing about it, just a real quick buffalo chase, is that you get a slew of images that match our paper collections, the stamp sets, the die cuts, stickers, all of that good stuff. But you get a slew of them all bundled together that all coordinate together, and they're only $9.95. So, oh my gosh, talk about like the bang for your buck. It's madness. So this is one of my favorite images from the Sweet Memories collection, this fun little camera here with this beautiful flower on top. And so if we were going to cut that out of cardstock or paper of your choice, you are going to have 4 different Cricut mats, 4 different colors of cardstock or pattern paper. Then you have to take all of the pieces off and adhere them all back together, right? It's not an undoable task, of course. We've been doing it for years, right? But let me show you a way that's not only going to save you time, but save you money as well. So the print and cut feature will actually take all 4 of these layers and smush them down flatten is what it's called, into a single layer. It will then send that final image to your home printer, your home color printer. It will spit it out. I will just throw in some 8.5 by 11 white cardstock in my printer, and it will spit out on that. Then I'll then take that sheet, put it over into my Cricut machine, and then Cricut will cut around the outer edge of this. And so it will essentially look like a printed sticker or a printed die cut with a beautiful Cricut cut, electronic cut edge around the outer edge here. No scissors, nothing like that. It'll do it all for you. But instead of having 4 different layers of cardstock, you are going to have a single layer of printed on, usually white cardstock, with a beautiful electronic cut outer edge. And it's absolutely stunning, and it is wicked fast. Okay. But one of the things that I felt like I needed to make some alterations for is I just duplicated this. I'm going to show you guys the difference here. And I have to watch my time because I only get 30 minutes and I'm a country girl, and I like to talk a long time. So one of the things, just a little tip for you guys, some of you guys tell me, Suze, I got a Cricut, but it's not out of the box yet. I'm a little intimidated. Let me just tell you the tip that you need to learn right away is if you have an image that you've started making some changes on, and you don't want to lose those changes, do yourself a favor, duplicate it with this little button up here, okay? And then come right over here to your layers panel and click this little eye, and that's just going to hide it for you. So you've just made a buddy. So you happen to make a change to the one on your canvas, or you're not happy with the changes and you want to go back to where you were at that point when you were happy with it, just go back over to the layers panel and unhide your original, and you can duplicate it again, hide another one. I always like to keep one in my back pocket. And so whether you're working with print and cut images or you're doing slicing and dicing with regular traditional Cricut images, it's always a great idea. And I do it all of the time when I'm designing from scratch, making, lots of interactive cut files and things like that. I always do myself a favor and I make a buddy and I hide it. And if I don't have to go back and use it because I didn't make a boo-boo, then that's great. All I do is delete it later. But it's always nice to have one just hidden over here, hanging out, waiting for you in case you make a blunder, right? So we've made a copy. We don't have to make a copy over there, but we've made a copy just because you guys need to get into the habit of doing that. It's a great, trust me, the day that you don't do it is the day that you need it, and you're yelling lots of bad words because all of the hard work you've just put into a beautiful Cricut file, you've made a blunder, and or your machine decides to update, or you have a power outage and you didn't save something, and all the good stuff, right? Like Murphy's Law happening, okay? So we're going to have 2 images here, and I want to show you guys a side-by-side comparison. Now, when we do print and cut, as I said, it's going to take all 4 of these layers and essentially compress them, flatten them, if you will. So we are going to pretend like we're going to print and cut this, okay? We're going to come all the way down here to the bottom right, and we're just going to click flatten. This is what it's going to look like when it gets sent to your printer, and then it will be cut around the outer edge of the mist color here. Now, for those of you that are not inside Close to My Heart world, this beautiful, beautiful bluish, greenish, gray color here is called mist in our palette. So that's how you'll hear me referring to it. But it is going to, so if you hear me talking about that, that's why I want you guys to know. That's what I'm talking about. But this beautiful outline here of this mist color, this bluish, greenish, gray, Cricut is going to cut around the outer edges of that, just like if you were to stamp it with a stamp and an ink pad, okay? So this is what it's going to look like. Now, if you like to create with softness, very calm looking things in your art repertoire, if you will, then this might be what you're going for. But for me, this image is sad and lonely, and it needs some boldness added to it. And if you hang with me for a minute, you're gonna know that Suze likes to put black borders and outlines and frames around everything, okay? Everything with a capital E. This is sad and boring to me, okay? Watch what we're going to do, and we're going to leave this little guy here for a comparison, a side-by-side comparison, okay? So when you cut these images out, that is what our file will look like when you initially pull something up on Cricut. Unless it is designed as a print and cut image, it will be a basic cut file. You'll see up here when we look up at operation, look up here, it says basic cut file, okay? So you'll see that the cut files have those black outer lines. That is essentially what I want to keep But when we flatten it, those black lines go away, right? So what are we going to do? Well, of course, we're going to add the black lines back in, right? And let me show you. It's super easy to do. So what we're going to do is if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that the older I get, I have some hand trimmers, and they don't like to work the way that they are supposed to and all the things. And so I found myself over the years that when I click on different images down here, I many times my hand will jump, my mouse will shift, and you get things that are not lined up. Now then I had to go back in and get them all lined up back up again, and it's just kind of a pain in the tail, right? Or you're clicking the back button 500 times, which is also a good way to fix it. So what I like to do is I find myself now working over on the layers panel, because when I click images over here, I'm playing with the individual images, okay? But if we want to add just the offset to individual images and not the outer shape as a whole, we're going to ungroup these, okay? So we're clicking the ungroup over here. Now we can play with, and this little hidden one over here is going to apparently stay at the top of my layers panel, and I don't want it there, so I'm actually going to delete it, okay? Good thing is I can bring up another one from the SVG collection if I need to. But we're going to go in, and now that we've ungrouped this, we can play with the images as individuals, okay? So I love the intricacy of the black around the outer edges of the mulberry here. That's that beautiful darker pink color there in close to my heart world. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to add an offset, okay? Now I will many times start with a 0.01 size. Sometimes we'll move to a 0.02. It just kind of depends on how bold we want it and that kind of thing. But the great thing about this is that you can change it after you have created it. Let's just say, okay, if you're familiar with offset is going to default at 1/4 of an inch. So it's popped up at 0.25. We don't want that, obviously. This is why. Obviously, that's not a good look, right? Let me show you how easy it is to fix that. You just come over here to the layers panel and just click your delete. See, it goes away, no problem. So you can come in here and play. You're not going to ruin anything. You're not going to wreck your hard work. But again, when you get it to a place and you're making these adjustments and your changes and you're really happy with them, don't fret about group it. Make a duplicate and then hide it in your layers panel, okay? I deleted mine for the sake of the tutorial, so we're not having to work at the bottom of the screen, but always do that. When you're happy with something, make a duplicate, hide it over there in your panel. If you don't need it later, you can delete it later, but it's better than having to start from scratch if you've made a blunder or something, your software glitches or something like that. So we can go in and we're going to again click the rows. We're going to go up here to offset. I don't want the 1/4 of an inch default. I'm going to start with a 0.01 because remember, we just want to bring back that black outer edge. So I'm going to click that, click enter. You can see the blue, the little blue lines around the outer edge of the pink. If we feel like that's going to be okay, again, remember, we can delete it later if we don't like it. We're going to click apply, and look, there is that beautiful black bold, right? Now look at the comparison. You see my black flower here, and you see the sad, lonely, flattened flower over here. Whose do you like better, right? Now, again, it's all in good fun, you guys. Rarely ever I say things like that in all seriousness. So if you are working with something that you need a bit of more of a soft look, then this is going to be your jam, and you're going to save yourself a few steps when you flatten those if you want to use the print and cut. So it's all in good fun. I'm just teasing, but for me, I really like the boldness. So we're going to keep that offset. I'm happy with that. Let's just for fun, okay? Let's hover over this and we're going to flatten it, and you guys can compare. So you can see we've not touched the camera down here. So you see it looks just like the one on the left, right? There's no black boldness, but look at how my rose stands out. You guys, isn't that amazing? I love it. I just love it. So let's unflatten and get back to work, okay? All right, Suze, calm down. You have to calm down. Take it down to a little bit lower decimal. It's just print and cut. It's all good, right? So we're going to click the mist layer. Now, why did we not have to do the light pink, the ballerina color? We didn't have to do that because it is a single layer, right? And it's just that back layer. It's just the one solid layer. So this layer would be hidden. It's just going to make us have to stick it back behind there because it's going to layer above. Or it didn't. Okay. Usually it will pop up like that where it's on the top, and so you have to bring it back down below the layer. But the offset is around the outside of that pink, which is hidden by the offset on top of it. So it's not necessary. So to make this to a point that I would be very pleased with it, we only have to work and create the offset for the top fancy layers. So that's the top layer of the rose right here with the mulberry color. And we're come down here and do it to the mist color that's on top of the camera. So same thing, up here, offset. We've got, it's going to default. If you guys are not familiar with offset, this is the same whether it's in print and cut or regular cut image. It is going to default the last measurement that you used. So if you like the 0.01, you can go in and it's going to default for all of your layers until you change that, which we're getting ready to do. So hold on to your shorts. So we're going to click apply. Now look at that. Awesome, right? So let's just have a comparison again. We're going to flatten it. Look at the difference, you guys. Just adding 2 offset layers, look at the difference that it made. You see that? Oh my goodness, gravy. I love it. Okay, so we're going to unflatten it because we're not done yet, all right? Now that I'm done working with the individual layers and I'm content to work with layers as a whole, right? The entire outline. So I am going to hover over it again and we're going to group it back together. So now we are one layer. So if my hand shifts or I have a trimmer or something like that, it's not blundering up any of my hard work. And again, if you guys are happy with this and you're like, oh, I'm still afraid, Suze, I'm afraid if I make a blunder, I have to start over again. This is your perfect opportunity to duplicate it and hide it over in your layers panel. We're not going to do it because it's going to keep it at the top and I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So we're just going to delete it. But you see how easy that is, right? Okay, so get out of the way there, buddy. It looks like, there we go. Okay, there we go. All right. It was a little bit delayed there for a moment. So now we have our layer that we've added our 2 offset features, but I love the look as well as having the black outlines. Many times I like to also outline it in a white edge. You guys know what I'm talking about when you have a stamped image and you have fussy cut it. It's very appealing to have that beautiful bubble around the outer edge. It makes it look like you thin cut it, right? Whereas it's a little bit more challenging to cut something directly on the outline image of like a stamped of a stamped image. It's a little difficult because you have to be really precise where you're cutting. If you make a blunder, it's very noticeable. But if you have that beautiful white bubble around the outer edge, it's a little more forgiving and I feel quite complimentary to the eye. And so I want to give the same look to my print and cut pieces as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm clicking on this. We're going to go back up to the offset. Remember, it's going to default at the 0.01 because that is the size that we used before. What I like to start out with when I'm creating my black detailed offset is usually 0.01. If I wanted something a little bolder, I'll do 0.02, sometimes 0.03, depending on the scale of the image. You guys, again, can go in there and play in it. And I showed you how easy it is to delete those if you don't like them, okay? But what I like to start out with when I'm adding the bold bubble of white around the outside is I will usually start with the 0.06, okay? So I've got 0.06. I have clicked enter and it's just going to take a moment because there's a lot of real estate around all of these little edges and that has to do a lot of math for us, okay? That system is really working hard to add the math of that offset. And I'm just going to be real with you guys. Sometimes it just doesn't want to do it. Like it's a lot of math in there. So if I am not getting the result that I'm wanting because it's not moving at all, I am going to do it one more time. That's how I know it didn't work because it defaulted to the 6, right? So we're going to give it just a second. So it will kind of kick in. It's going to get bigger here in just a second. Again, like it takes a while. It's a lot of math in there. Hold tight, hold tight. Come on there, buddy. Oh my word. 3rd time's a charm, for goodness sakes. We'll try our little toggle switch. Sometimes that works really well. There we go. Okay, so we are the 0.06 and look at that. That is beautiful, guys. That's absolutely beautiful. So we clicked enter, apply. Now we don't want the black. So we're just going to come right up here and change it. So we're going to come up here to our color. We're going to change it to white. Okay, now you guys can change it to other colors if you would like to. You also, if you are unaware, I'm just playing, of course, but if you're unaware, you can click the advanced down here, and this is where you would put your hex code. So if you have a hex code to a particular color that you're working with that matches Close to My Heart palette or another paper collection that you're using, or just a color of your choice, you can go in and this is where you would put the hex code, and it will change this color to match your hex code. The fun thing is that when you use the SVGs from Close to My Heart, the matching colors are already pre-programmed with the digital art, so you don't have to do any of that. So this is already going to match our cardstock colors of the mulberry, the ballerina, the I believe this is linen, and the mist, right? But we want, just to make it super easy, we would just want it white. Now you'll see that it's a little challenging to see the white with the grid. So this is a tip that I will usually do when I am playing in Cricut and I'm working with a white background, is I will just bring in a colored square and I'll just pop it in here and I'll send it to the back. So now I'm working with, I can see that white very boldly. Now, if I wasn't happy, if I was not happy with this outline, this offset, like if I thought I wanted it to be a little bit wider or a little bit more narrow, I'm really going to get a good idea of what it's going to look like based upon this gray square back there. So let's just say maybe, where is our offset? There it is. Maybe we wanted to do one that was a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. Okay, remember it's defaulting to where we started out, right? So maybe we wanted it to be a little bit bigger. We'll see if the math will, there it goes. I saw it work. Okay. So if you, again, you could look at that. It's always going to default to black unless you already have a black offset layer down there. So we are going to change it to whites. Again, if you like it, perfect. If not, you see how easy it is to get rid of it, okay? But we're going to do it for real. So let's go back to our offset, and we will move it down to the 0.06. And we will apply it. Now, what you will notice as well, you see this little tiny sliver here? Sometimes it didn't do it when we did it at the 0.06 or the 0.069, but it did it at the 0.06 because the offset was not big enough to cover up this entire window. Now, here's the deal. To me, and I'm probably looking at things that are not super duper, they're not, it's probably not going to, no one else is going to notice it. I'm maybe a little OCD, but I don't want that sliver there. I don't want to be able to see what's behind it, but I also don't really want my blade going in there and making a little notch. It's just going to drive me crazy. So the easiest way to fix that is I am just going to actually bring in a little tiny circle. We are going to cover that up, okay? We are going to send it, just for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to leave it a color that you can still see it, okay? So we're going to send it backward. So now it's behind one layer. We are going to send it backward again, and we can still see it, right, where that red is. So we can't see anything else but that sliver. That sliver is what I want to cover up. So now that I'm happy with where it's at, I'm going to go and change it to white. So that's going to cover up my sliver now, okay? So now that we're super duper duper happy with this, now I'm going to move my rectangle out of the way. We're going to hover over every layer, and we're going to flatten it. Now remember, this is going to print out onto your color printer, okay? I will link below this video or in the description of this video a print and cut tutorial that will walk you through how to calibrate your Cricut machine for this technique, and it'll show you everything that you need to know how to use this software. It's only 17 minutes long. It's a free tutorial, but I found it. It's been a wealth of knowledge for me, and I have probably shared it 300 billion times. So I will share that below for you guys as well, that'll be handy if you're just kind of diving into print and cut. But you will see at what a difference that made, you guys. It is just crazy. Look at just a few changes at how beautiful and bold, and this still is really going to stand out for us, right? And this one is just very soft. And again, I joke around if this is the look you guys are going for, really soft and you know, no black lines and all that kind of thing. If that's what you like, then you go for it. But if you want something that's going to stand out a little bit more in a single image cut, which is what the print and cut will provide for you, then just with a few changes using that offset feature, you're going to get an amazing result. So I hope it was helpful, guys. If you have questions, leave them below. I'll try to go back in and address those. But I hope that it was really, really helpful for you guys. I promise you, if you're like me and you don't really like adhering all of those individual layers together, this is going to absolutely change your life. I will mention to you as well, I just looked at my time and I have just like a quick minute left, like just a couple minutes left. But I will tell you too, guys, that if you, wanted to do something like, maybe you wanted to make something personalized, like let's pretend, I don't know, possibly this could be a birthday card or something like that. Maybe you wanted to add some text, or you wanted to add another image on top. You can do that. We're just like, this is obviously a test. You can do that and layer multiple images together. So if we wanted to put text on there, maybe we wanted to put love you or happy birthday mom or whatever, or we wanted to add, some other fun shapes or some other, you can mix and match Cricut images. You can mix and match other SVGs. I am teaching a class inside the membership where I have the camera, and then I also have a cursive sentiment that I added, and I put them together. And again, like, you can do all of this, hover over it and flatten it, and it's all one image. So this is exactly what your print and cut image would look like, or if you wanted to make it a sticker or whatever, it's going to look exactly the way that you have designed it on the mat. Okay. And again, you unflatten it, go in and make changes. If you're not happy with it, it does not flatten it until you click that final flatten button. So again, you can change it as often as you want, make as many changes as you want just by flattening and unflattening. And that is, again, a good way to determine how thick you want your offsets as well. So if you go in and you try the 0.01 black offset and you're like, oh gosh, I would like it to be a little bit bolder, go in and unflatten it again. So now you can work with it because it's multiple layers. Come over to your layers panel, delete your offset that you just created, and go in and put you in one at a different size. Flatten it again. Check to see what it looks like. And again, I do many times when I'm designing, leave the flattened original over here where I can see it, because it gives me that really great comparison of what it's going to look like with the rest of the shape and the details and that kind of thing without the black. And then it shows me kind of what my final image will look like. And so again, there are some images that obviously you don't want a super duper 1/4 of an inch black offset around a different portion of it for the camera. But maybe if I was doing something that looked really cool with a black bubble around the outside of it, well, then of course that was absolutely a great choice for that. But again, you're not going to really get a good look at what it's going to look like when it's flattened if you don't actually go in and flatten it. Okay. So again, go in and use this little flatten option time and time again. Flatten, unflatten, flatten, unflatten, till you get something you're super duper happy with. And guys, I'm not kidding. It will change your life. It will save you time. It will save you money. If you're like me and you pre-cut hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of project kits every single month for your customers, this is a game changer, absolute game changer for not only me, but it's a game changer for my customers as well, because they don't have to worry about adhering and sorting all of those little pieces either. So it's quite amazing, you guys. It really is quite amazing. So I thank you for watching. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you guys have questions, again, leave them below. I'll go in and address those as I am able. And again, I hope it was helpful, and dive into print and cut, you guys. You're not going to break it. It's not going to eat you. I promise you, it is just delightful fun. So if you're interested in close to my heart supplies, and you do not have a consultant, or you're listening to this and you're not a consultant, you can find my website over at susanwilliams.ctmh.com, and my blog is justcrazyblessed.blogspot.com. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I'm so grateful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.